The Croods has been making a huge comeback lately on the internet, so I watched both movies to see, is the hype justified? Some people may just say, oh, The Croods is just some caveman movie for kids. It relies on the cheap humor like dun dun dun. Yeah, I'm here to prove that that movie, The Croods, is a lot more than what I just said it is. I will analyze the settings, the characters, and the story to tell you why The Croods is actually the underrated masterpiece you never thought of. My name's Luke446, and I usually talk about stuff like movies, TV shows, self-improvement, food. So if you like that stuff, then like and sub, and let's get into it. First, let's analyze the setting. And I'm gonna be honest, the setting actually slaps in this scenario. So, the Croods setting is like this prehistoric world that's like super overly exaggerated. Like, there's like huge plants everywhere, like huge volcanoes, there's like huge wildcats that are gonna kill you. There's birds that can bite you off the bone. No, honestly, the land is pretty cool. Like, there's like this huge jungle that they go in, that's pretty cool. There's caves, beaches, it's like everything is super colorful, you know, I gotta appreciate that about the movie. It's super duper colorful, you know, you feel like you're exploring this new wacky world. It's everything, you know what I'm saying, it's overdone in a good way. And also the animals are super creative. Like, there was like this owl tiger thing, and also these like squirrels that were like conjoined twin squirrels. Also, they utilized the setting to like a really good way because the movie starts off in this like boring, dry desert land. By the way, on a little tangent here, the beginning of the movie, whoo, that soundtrack, the egg scene, whoo, that slaps. But yeah, what they do is they start off in this like really boring desert land, and then, you know what I'm saying, as they travel outside, they find like the huge rainforest, they find the fields with all these whale things. They find like the whole world, and they realize, yeah, this world is crazy. This is not just the boring desert land that we've spawned in. Also, this movie, this is not about the setting. This movie is just straight up funny, bro. Like, literally, this is like the pre-Minecraft movie. This is before Chicken Jockey. You know, nowadays it's Chicken Jockey, and you know what I'm saying, in 2014 we had Release the Baby! And also, Grug's sole idea for coming up with an idea was to kill the old boomer. Now let's get into the meat and potato of the story, the characters. In the intro, I stated that Grug, you know, he's just the overprotective father. You know, Eep is just, oh, the free-spirited girl who just wants to explore. And Guy, he's just the new hipster kid on the block. Yeah, those things are true, but they do these things to a very well extent. Grug, honestly, is the best character in this whole movie. Like, let's be honest. He is easily an S-tier character. If you were to tell me Pureblood Viltrumite or Grug, let's be honest, Grug is soloing.
I wouldn't even keep you as a slave in my empire!
But Grug in the story, he represents, oh, the strict father figure who's so traditional, and he like hates his kids, you know, he wants to keep them locked up in a cave. But no, that's just not true, bro. Like, honestly, if I was in Grug's situation, I would keep my kids locked in a cave too, because, bro, literally, you know, a mosquito the size of a bus just killed the neighbors, you know, yeah, I ain't messing with that, bro. Like, keep all them kids in the cave, for all I care. And I get that he got mad at Eep, because Eep was like, oh, let me just explore. Yeah, you know. It's all fun and games exploring until that huge cat, the owl cat, comes, or the mosquito impales you. Nah, I ain't even gonna lie, that mosquito, though, is terrifying. I can't get over that. But the movie really paints out Grug to be like this villain who hates his family, and he's such a bad dude. You know, Guy comes along, he's so free-spirited, and like, Grug is like this mean old boomer. But no, I'll say it, Grug is the definition of a Chad. He did nothing wrong in this movie. If we take an example from the movie how Grug is a literal Chad, let's talk about the egg scene. Arguably one of the best scenes in the movie. You know, they spend the entire day running, they do like this time lapse of them running, they spend the whole day, you know what I'm saying, fighting this egg, getting the egg, and then when they finally get the egg, Thunks dumma drops the egg on the ground, it cracks, and so the egg is like dripping out, and everyone's like drinking, they're like, oh, and then by the time the egg gets to Grug, a single drop of egg gets on him, and you know what bro says? He just was like, yeah, I ate last week. I don't know if whoever wrote this movie, you know what I'm saying, practices stoicism, but Grug is literally a stoic father. He literally takes adversity, which is starvation, he takes that on the chin and strides for greatness. He takes the good out of the bad. A normal person would have been like, oh no, I'm gonna starve. Grug's like, nah, I ate last week, bro, I'm good. But also we have Eep, who is the main character of this movie. And let's be honest, Eep is like, you know what I'm saying, the Luffys and the Eren Yeagers of this world. She just wants freedom. Freedom from the cave. And you know, I don't blame her. Like, imagine being born and having to live in a cave your whole life. Grug's perspective where it's like, I just want to keep them safe. And Eep's perspective where it's like, yeah, this dad is trying to keep me in this cave forever. screw him. But yeah, she's like basically, oh, I want freedom. And then, you know, Guy comes in and he's like, yeah, I have freedom. And then she's like, oh, Guy. You know what I'm saying? You have this dynamic of the daughter who's like, oh, I just want to be free. And also the dad who's like, you know, don't be free. You got to be safe. You know, I get that, man. And honestly, at the end of the movie, which honestly, the dynamic between Guy and Grug is pretty nice. Grug is basically the foundation of stability for the family. He's the strength, you know, he's the guns of the family, you know. If Grug didn't exist, neither would the family. But Guy is the complete opposite. He's that nomad. He's the lonely dude who just travels around, you know what I'm saying? He's the passport bro of the Croods world. Guy is the nomad. He lives the unstable life. He is the epitome of instability. As he travels, he doesn't have a single place to go. They're complete opposites. But in the end, in one of the scenes that I'm going to talk about later on, they come to realize, hey, this dude's just trying to do this, and hey, this dude is just trying to do this. Now, if you haven't seen the Croods, then why are you still watching? Like, do you want to get spoiled of this masterpiece? I mean, I don't know, it's your choice. But if you didn't know, it basically follows a caveman family called the Croods, you know, and they're trying to escape the end of the world. Yeah, the end of the world is like catching up to them, you know? The circle from Fortnite. Like, literally, the circle is shrinking fast, and they gotta get to tomorrow, you know, which is basically like the new world, you know. That's what Guy's trying to search for, and that's where the family's trying to go. Now I've talked about the basic premise, the settings, the characters, all that stuff. Let's talk about meat and potatoes. Not even the meat and potatoes, the dessert, which is the emotional scenes in this movie. Now the tar pit scene. This is the scene where Guy and Grug, they really they understand each other. Because, you know, if you didn't know, Guy and Grug, they get trapped in a tar pit. Guy and Grug, they think they're gonna die. So they're like, hey, man, let's just throw all the differences aside and just be homies. And so Grug understands, you know, Guy, this guy, dude, you know, this whole time I thought he was like dumb and stupid, even though he had all these ideas that are so stupid. And then Guy thought that Grug was like, oh, this raging boomer who's just dumb. Then the emotional part is that Grug, he passes the torch on, you know. He basically is going to sacrifice himself so that Grug can take his family to tomorrow. Which segues to the next scene, which is where Grug, he willingly throws all of his family members to tomorrow. Well, he can't go tomorrow. No one can throw him, so he got to sacrifice himself. He throws Guy, his whole family members. You know, it's just emotional because, like, this is the last time that the family's ever going to see Grug. So they're like, dang, dude. This sucks. This also highlights the stoicism that Grug enforces in this movie, because he isn't like, my family. He's like, you know, I gotta do what I gotta do. Even for the grandma who he wanted to kill, he could just like take the grandma and throw her down into the pit of lava. But no, he actually threw the grandma too, because he knew that the grandma is an important part of the family. Now the cave drawing scene is the next emotional scene. This is basically where Grug's in the cave and he's like, dang, bro. He's like reflecting on his family and he's like, dang, I actually did that. And, you know, he's, like, drawing on the cave, and he's, like, drawing all of his family members. And then he draws, I think he draws Guy, because it basically symbolizes that Guy is basically a part of their family now. And then he's like, dang, bro. And then the greatest quote in this whole movie.
I have an idea! Shut your fucking mouth!
And this idea that he has segues to the next point, which is the last emotional scene in this movie, which is they escaping from the old world into the new world. The final scene was Grug fulfilling the idea that he was promising. He basically crafted up an idea better than Guy could ever do. He took like this old skeleton, you know what I'm saying, put tar on it, and then had these like death birds, you know, lifted up, and he literally took, Grug is a G for this, he took a literal tiger that was trying to kill him with him, and he's like, yeah, you're my pet now. Only Grug can turn a vicious tiger that was trying to kill him 20 minutes earlier in the movie to a pet. Yeah. And then he basically is like, he doesn't want to leave anyone behind, you know. As he's flying out of the old world on this skeleton, he picks up his son's dog, Douglas. He picks up those conjoined squirrels, you know. He picks up what looks like a hyena. He picks up all these little things. A bat thing, I think. Elephant bat? I don't know. He picks that thing up. He takes all these critters with him, and he's basically saying, like, yeah. So he takes all of those animals and takes them to the new world with his tiger, by the way, his pet tiger. Then he goes to the new world with his family, except for the monkeys. He didn't take any of the monkeys, and honestly, those monkeys can go suck a fat one. And that was why The Croods was a masterpiece. And now I'm gonna go into a rant. We're gonna talk about how The Croods 2 is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Here, right here, all your needs will... In a minute!
The Croods 2, it takes everything the Croods 1 worked for. The world building, the settings, the character writing. It takes all that and he just throws it in the dumpster. The worst part of this movie, I would say, is how Guy is portrayed. The first movie, Guy is this nomad. He's like this dude who has ideas and he just travels around by himself with a belt, He doesn't need anyone else. He's strong. He lives off of his ideas and his strength, his mentality. And this metaphor of tomorrow was him finding the better world, the new world. And not only did this metaphor for tomorrow mean a new world, but a new life. A life where they could live in the sun, live every day not fearing. This metaphor was beautiful in the first movie, but in the second movie, they literally took it and threw it in the dumpster and took a fat dookie all over it. Basically, I'll run through the plot of the second movie. The Croods, they're in the new world, and then they find a tree house of people called the Bettermans. The Bettermans, and they have showers, and they have deodorant, and they have elevators and gardens. Oh, we're so special, and we have a lazy river in our house, and we have saunas. Basically, they're just modern soy people. And if the Bettermans were supposed to be the villains in this movie, they suck. Especially the dad. The dad is literally just like, I swear that dude lives off soy and estrogen. Like, he wears these stupid robes with these dumb necklaces, and he sits in a sauna and he's like, whoa, dude, I'm so chilled out. Like, no, you're not chilled out. You're lazy. You choose this instant gratification over actually leading a fulfilling life. You're gonna hide out in your tree house. Phil Betterman is different than Grug, because in the new world has close to zero actual threats. Unlike in the old world, where there was literally giant mosquitoes and wildcats everywhere, the new world had nothing. That's why they were trying to search for the new world, and when you build this treehouse and live behind a wall, this is not Attack on Titan. There's not gonna be titans coming at you. There's nothing beyond that wall. So you're literally just living in this stupid treehouse by yourself with your family and not experiencing the world. And then denying your daughter who wants to see the world opportunities to see the world because you just want to live in comfort your whole life. Like, come on, bro. Anyways, the Bettermans, they live in this treehouse. Guy gets this treehouse, and then he's like, oh, this is the tomorrow that I was searching for.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
No, it is
Shut your fucking mouth!
No, it is not. You are not talking about some stupid treehouse if you're talking about tomorrow. It doesn't even make sense. And then he's like, oh, my parents wanted me to find this place. Okay, if your parents wanted you to find this place, why didn't the Bettermans at least get a name drop in the first movie? They got nothing. This is why sequels suck. Because they literally are all for money and clout. When literally they took, Guy's metaphor, which is this beautiful metaphor about living a better life in a better area, and they took it about this stupid treehouse with these soy boys. And also, they treat Grug like a dumb, poopy head. Grug in the first movie is like, yeah, I'm stoic, I'm here to protect my family. He has these dumb moments here and there. Overall, he's a good dude. In the second movie, Grug's just like, bananas, I just want bananas. Like, bro, how do you know what bananas even are? There were no bananas in the first movie. There were no bananas in the desert. You do not know where bananas are. And all of a sudden, in the second movie, you suddenly love bananas. Yeah, okay. I just want bananas. And also, Thunk was so stupid in this movie. He literally spent the entire movie looking out of a window, which, it's supposed to be an iPad. He's an iPad kid. And they didn't do anything with that. They just let him be an iPad kid for the whole movie. And also, this movie's pacing is just way too fast. Like, you cannot even digest a single thing before you're seeing the grandma rip off her shirt and have six-pack abs. Like, I'm not even kidding. There's literally jokes. It's like a Marvel movie. There's like a joke every 5 minutes to keep your attention. There's zero emotional moments in this movie. None. There's just quick bursts of humor and action, which the action sucks, because why are we even going through this? Why are we fighting a giant monkey when all of the monkeys in the first movie came back in the second movie? How, you may ask? Who knows? They literally died. They were literally in the jungle when the freaking end of the world caught up to them. The storm circle from Fortnite caught up to them. Those monkeys all died. And then all of a sudden, they're in the second movie. But yeah, like I said, they take Guy's dream of finding tomorrow and boil it down to, oh, I just want to find this treehouse of stupidity. And also, literally, they take Guy and turn him into he's just stupid. He didn't come up with a single idea. He just literally sits around with his robe and his stupid sandals and eats berries off of a bush for the whole movie. And he's like, oh, my girlfriend should take a shower. Honestly, yeah, that's right. She should take a shower. That's another thing I disagree with this movie, is that they glorify being dirty. This may be because I live in a country where, we take showers every day, but I personally do not want to smell someone who stinks. That's just my opinion, Come at me in the comments, but Guy is perfectly in the right for wanting his girlfriend to take a shower if he smells like doo-doo. And, they go through the movie, they kill the monkey and everything is all honky-dory. I can take some cheesiness in kids' movie, like, oh, you know, we're in the new world, you know, everyone's happy, we have these new pets. No, the second movie is like, oh, we have infinite bananas, you know, the monkeys are our best friends, even though they were just trying to kill us. You know, the Bettermans, they're actually not so bad of people after all. You know, they understand us. And, you know, we don't take showers. Take showers, bro. If you have showers, take showers. You're gonna get infections. Bathe yourselves. And I'm not talking about in the first movie where you hang from the ceiling and get a stick hit on you.
I don't want to lose my protective layer.
No, take a bath. So we are coming to the end of the video. The Croods 1, absolutely a masterpiece, I can't even lie. The Croods 2 was cheeks. The Croods is basically, you know what I'm saying, it's a redonkulously good movie, you know what I'm saying? I feel like anyone of all ages can enjoy The Croods. The Croods 2, no one should watch that at all. But again, my name is Luke446, and that is my commentary. If you like the video, like and sub, dude, honestly, because I post like every week now. But yeah, like, sub, comment what you want to see next, and I'm out, bruh. Peace!